delicate skin and willowy waist, which more and more drew delightful smiles from father. But mother, shaking her head, pursed her thick lips and walked away without saying a word. Soon afterward, Aunt Chang brought a regular hairdresser, a Mrs. Chen, to mother. 一个人能一眼看出他是哪种的人喜欢八卦。She would ramble on about people from old Mr. Chow's elder daughter-in-law down to General Lee's third concubine, all while dressing mother's hair. Mother sat wilted on her chair, not uttering a single word, but I listened with great relish. Sometimes Mrs. Liu and Mrs. Chen came together. Mother and the concubine would sit back to back in front of the breezeway and have their hair dressed. One could hear Auntie and Mrs. Liu talking and laughing on her side. Mother just sat resting with her eyes closed. Mrs. Chen brushed and combed with less and less vigor and soon quit altogether. Auntie whispered to Mrs. Liu. 打电话是我，对我妈妈非常生气，我哭了，但不敢告诉妈妈。From then on, I stood on a low stool and brushed mother's hair into the simplest abalone fish. I would stand on tiptoe and watch mother in the mirror. Her face was already not as plump and radiant as when we lived in the country, and she hurried about in the kitchen. Her eyes fixed in the mirror, she gazed at herself absent-mindedly, never again squinting and smiling. I gathered mother's hair a lock at a time and brushed. But I already knew that one little willow comb couldn't brush away mother's heart sickness, because from the other side of the breezeway came, floating across, the occasional tinkling sound of father's and auntie's laughter. After I grew up, I left home to pursue my studies. When I returned home for summer and winter vacations, I would sometimes dress mother's hair. I gathered her hair together in the palm of my hand and felt it becoming sparser and sparser. I remembered back in my childhood when on the 7th day of the 7th lunar month I saw mother's soft, raven tresses flowing over her shoulders, her face filled with joy, and I couldn't help but feel heartbroken. When mother saw me return home, her distressed look occasionally gave way to smiles. No matter what, the happiest time was when mother and daughter were together. When I was studying in Shanghai, mother wrote to say she had rheumatism and couldn't lift her arms. Even the simplest twist came out all wrong, so she just cut her sparse locks off.
你好吗？上海是什么样子？你是什么学习？因为他是一个负担来拒绝他。我信念。
I clutched her letter in my hands, and as I sat, bathed in the desolate moonlight beside the dormitory window, I cried in loneliness. The late autumn night breeze blew over me, and I felt cold. I draped the soft sweater that mother had knit for me over my shoulder, and warmth crept over me from head to toe. But mother was old now. I couldn't always be at her side. She has cut off her thinning hair. 大阶段，了她多发稀释， 感到赞美为书展跳的是充满了忧伤。Soon afterward, Auntie came to Shanghai on business and brought me a picture.
你好吗？你赶紧来跟书上，现在就说洗稿好。
我好，我只是托回台湾，那里的人们特别迷茫吗？
我的书很说行，我现在老了。
I hadn't seen her for 3 years. Her hair had already turned silvery white. Saddened, I stared dumbly at the picture, yet had no way of pouring out my feelings to Auntie who stood before me. Almost as if sympathizing with my thoughts of Mother, she rambled on and on about Mother's present condition, saying her heart was weak and she was troubled again with rheumatism, so she was not as strong as before. I bowed my head and listened in silence, thinking that it was she who made my mother unhappy all her life. But I didn't hate her anymore, not even a little bit, because since Father's death, Mother and Auntie had unpredictably become good friends in their mutual suffering. Mother had stopped hating her long ago. I looked at her closely. Her nape no longer was draped with the rich and versatile phoenix or entwined heart twists of days past, but was covered by a very simple banana raw. She did not apply makeup and appeared sad and lonely. I could not help feeling unlimited pity for her, because she wasn't a woman like Mother, contenting herself with a tranquil life. Having followed Father close to 20 years, she had enjoyed honor and wealth. But once her support was gone, her feeling of emptiness and loss was even greater than Mother's. After coming to Taiwan, Auntie became my only relative, and we lived together for many years. In the breezeway of our Japanese-style house, I watched her sit by the window, brushing her hair.
我的胸型僵硬，我完全老了。
Old. She too was old. Her black hair, like a silken cloud in those days, had now gradually thinned out. Only a wisp remained, and that was speckled with gray. I remember the days of the rivalry in Hangzhou, when she and Mother sat back to back in the corridor, having their hair coiffure, not changing a word. In a flash, all that was past. In the human world, what then is love and hate? Old decrepit Auntie had finally started on a vague journey in an unknown direction. Her life at this time was lonelier than anyone else.
让我给你时间找彼此，现在你好吗？
我还是双脚往上仰视，是段年切脸的娘们。
Can I stay forever young? What she had said is already more than 10 years past. I'm far from being young anymore, already callous and wooden toward love, hate, greed, and foolishness in this world. What after all, is eternal in this world, and what is worth being serious about.